Good morning, YouTubers. T-Square with T-Square Talks. Hope everybody's having a great day. Got a great video planned out for you guys today. Today, I want to answer a comment basically that asked me about my silver stacking journey. How did I get started in silver stacking? A lot of people that are new to the channel have just started silver stacking not too long ago, really. They're stacking maybe collectibles, maybe they're stacking bullion, maybe they're stacking junk silver. And I think it's important that people are stacking, and I didn't always feel that way. And even the naysayers that are in the room that watch these videos, that put the negative comments on and stuff, I gotta be honest, I was one of those people originally. I wasn't putting them on videos like YouTube. I was just against it. I had heard about it, but I was too engulfed in, absorbed into the .com sector, and I was doing really well with it for a while, heavily investing in the NASDAQ. And what saved me the most was just luck. I hate to say that, you know, it was no skill behind it. I sometimes joke and say, oh, it was all skill, but it was luck that I got out when I did and why I got out. So I wanted to kind of answer that, and I wanted to address people's thoughts on this, because there are a lot of naysayers out there, and a lot of people don't really understand the whole silver stacking thing. And so I kind of want to tell mine. I haven't always been like this. I've got to say that. And so when I got asked, hey, you should tell your story, some people have heard this story over the years. But, you know, when I first started making YouTube videos, I had people, you know, I might get 20 views to a video. And so a lot of the people that started with me are no longer here, or they're here, but we've just got so many more people that don't know and can't picture me being a type of person that would be anti-precious metals. And a lot of that had to do with greed, and a lot of it had to do with the education that came up throughout time and the luck that came up. And I think a lot of people are going to wake up to precious metals, as I did. And when they wake up, the first thought is going to be, man, I wish I had thought of this sooner. I wish I'd got into it sooner, but I didn't. And they're going to be paying a higher price. And just like I'm paying a higher price now. But like I said, I did get a certain point lucky. So I kind of wanted to talk about that today. I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you do enjoy the video, take a quick minute, hit that thumbs up button. And with that being said, comment. I loved hearing your comments. And also, if you would subscribe to the channel, because it really does help the channel out, and we're trying to grow the channel. So jumping in right off, how did I get started? So like I said, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and check out all of our great videos. Not getting 20 hits anymore. I'm super happy with the growth of the channel. We've came a long way, though. So like I said, I've been doing this for a while now. So jumping in right off the bat, first thing I do want to check before I get started every day, I always like to check what's going on with the silver price. Silver price right now trading at $30.36. I'm pretty happy with that. We're seeing a slow and steady gain. As you can see, the green line was today. Red line was yesterday. Blue line was the day before. We're seeing it slowly creep up. I'm still hoping for some sort of a beat down, a small beat down. Nothing major before the Fed meeting that is coming up on the 28th and the 29th. Taking a look at the silver futures, we have the silver futures trading right now at $31.30. There again, slow upward momentum, but I'm still hopeful. Taking a quick look at the DXY, amazing. It's amazing the show that they are putting on, because DXY is looking really good right now. However, a lot of us that know what's going on and understand what's going on understand that it's just manipulation. The DXY is sitting at 109.64, getting almost to 110 today, which would be phenomenal if we got there. So in order to really talk about this, I've got to show you guys the silver price, the historical silver price. Because when I first heard about this, I was actually in the military. I was stationed in the Middle East. And as you know, the Middle East is big on silver and gold, specifically gold. And I worked with a guy that tried telling me, you know, you should be buying precious metals. It's a steal of a lifetime. They're super cheap. My dad has been telling me about them for years, and I've been following them, and it just gets cheaper. And the deal has just been better, and all of a sudden it's going to erupt. And you think about that. This happened in 2000. Now, This gentleman was about my age. He was probably roughly 20, maybe 21, which would mean he experienced silver at $32. He was coming off of the 80s high as the price continued to come down. And instead of being negative on silver, because I can tell you, if I started stacking and the price had just been demolished all that time, I would be a little bit discouraged maybe. He was not discouraged. Fast forward to 2000, I'm just picking a random month in 2000, silver's sitting at $9.20. Now, I remember when it was $7. And people would even be willing to sell it a little lower in some cases. However, that's, someone dumping their position before it goes to zero, because some people actually believe, and even today with silver over $30, some people still think that it could plunge down to unrealistic numbers. And I had turned that down at the time, and I didn't really believe in what he was saying. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that I was big into the .com sector. I was huge into the NASDAQ. When I first went in the Navy, I had gotten a signing bonus for the type of job that I had done. It was a cash bonus upon completion, and that was it. So I ended up having someone talk to me, and he said, "What are you going to do with it?" I said, "I'm just going to go party with it, and I'm going to have fun. And you know what? It's not going to be a huge amount of money, but I can do something fun with it." He then showed me his stock market portfolio, and it blew my mind. I had never seen what $1 million in something looked like. He had $1 million in his investment portfolio, and I was in shock. I was like, dude, you're a millionaire. What are you doing here? Why are you an officer in the United States Navy? And it just shocked me to see that. And so he convinced me to take my signing bonus and put it in the .com sector, the NASDAQ specifically. I invested in a bunch of NASDAQ stuff. I invested in some mutual funds. And from there on, the price went up. And I would sit on the back of the ship, we call it the fantail, and I would just sit there some days and just think about, how is my investments, at a certain point I was making more in the stock market than I was getting paid in the military. And we don't get paid much in the military. And so I was mesmerized by that. I was sucked into the greed at a young age, and it wasn't just me. This officer convinced a fair amount of these younger sailors to get in. And so I got in. Now, I was one of the lucky ones, because when you look at the NASDAQ, I'm going to pull that up real quick. When you look at the NASDAQ in 2000, it was at 4,915 points. And it was still climbing. And needless to say, I had been putting money in at this point. I put my signing bonus in, and I was so mesmerized that I couldn't get enough of my money in there, which really helped me from wasting a lot of money. Then I ended up having a kid. And having a son, really, I wanted a house. I wanted to start my life. I was already married now. And I said, you know what? I want to buy a house. And I don't want to really owe anybody. And so I said, I'm going to sell everything. And I felt bad. I remember when I sold everything, that I felt bad, because I knew the gains that I was making were going to stop. Just like if you sell your silver or you sell your gold today, the increase that you see is going to stop. And every day when you look at the price of silver and it's inching its way up, or you look at the price of gold and it's inching its way up, you start to feel bad. It's discouraging. You sold your position and it's going up. I, though, was lucky, because not even a month after I had bought my home, sold everything, the .com bubble burst, and I seen it get crushed. And that woke me up to, oh my word, I could have lost everything. And I actually had friends that lost everything. They had gotten wiped out. And, these people that are big into Bitcoin, when I talk to them and when I listen to their stories and what they think about Bitcoin, they can't see a fall that I seen during the .com. They don't think it's possible. And I want you to look at this chart that I'm showing right now. This was in March of 2020. 2020. That's what I want you to take. I'm sorry, 2000. That's what I want you to take from this for a minute. 2000 at 4,900 points. Fast forward 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, 13 years, 14 years. 14 years before these people recoup their money. 14 years. You know, the question comes up, oh, you can't really lose. If you had invested at any point in the NASDAQ or in Bitcoin, you can't lose. It's impossible. But the truth of the matter is, the people, these friends of mine, they had to wait 14 years before they got back to where they were making profits again, where it was back up there. I don't want to wait 14 years. I don't want to lose 14 years of my life in investing. That's why I'm big in silver now. I was lucky that I eventually did get into it. And years later, when you look at the silver chart here again, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Years later, in roughly 2015, well, I'll tell you this story. In 2011 first, when it was up, I had actually bought a chain to put my dog tags, my military dog tags, something we wear so they can identify us if something happens. And I ended up buying a gold chain back then. And when you looked at the price of gold back then, in 2000, gold was under $500. Think about that, $500. When I was working for the oil companies in around the high, it was all over the news. Everybody was talking about it. I had someone tell me, yeah, but you wore that chain. It's used. And I ended up still, I was like, you know, I got it. I don't want to sell it, though. This is a 1.5, 2 ounce gold necklace, solid gold, pure gold, because in the Middle East, they don't water their gold down. They're not, the people that have the money to buy gold don't want 10 karat, 12 karat, 15 karat. They want pure 24 karat gold. Some people may have a cartouche or a gold chain or something. So I bought that gold chain, and I had people ask me to buy it. And I started paying attention to the silver and the gold prices at that point. But at that point, look at the difference between where it was and where it is at that point in time. Huge jump. You missed the boat. And at that point, I couldn't do it. I didn't understand that you will never really miss the boat on silver and gold. At the time, though, that's what I was saying. Fast forward a little bit more to 2015, roughly. It was $22, roughly, $23 somewhere. Should be somewhere around here. I'd say right around here, $22. And I still got the order forms from my first orders, because I keep a lot of my order forms. I've had people ask me, should I keep all my forms? Yeah, keep them all. Keep them on record, pull them up. I could actually go to Provident Metals still and download them even if I lost them, but I don't know if they keep them forever. And so, you know, you look at that at $22. The price came down. It continued to come down, and I didn't get discouraged. I just wanted more of it. And the funny thing about this chart doesn't even show how low it got at one point. There was a point somewhere in here. I can't target it exactly. That silver was $15.50, $16. Now I know right off, some of you might say, "Oh, it went even lower during the whole cough," and it did, but it was hard. You couldn't really find it. I didn't find anybody selling any at $11. But at that point, I started getting into it. I was lucky. I had a friend that worked with me, and his wife was from Venezuela. And I was fascinated by the stories that I had heard from him. And he ended up letting me buy an ounce of silver off him, my first ever ounce. He actually gave it to me for $20. It was just a Indian buffalo round. And I started buying. And all day when I was doing my paperwork, I had my AirPods in. Well, back then we just headphones. And I'd be doing my paperwork, working on the computer, and I'd be listening to shows like Silver Bullet, Silver Shield. I'd be listening to, I can't remember the name of it, something Report. is a big show back then. I don't even know if they're around. I don't listen to some of them channels now. But I listened to a lot of these. I think Silver Bullet, Silver Shield was Chris Dunn. And I listened to a lot of his stuff, and I loved his videos. And it got me even more to understand what's going on. And as I put more time and research, I mean, I'm watching videos 8-10 hours a day, trying to understand every aspect. And you never really understand everything, and you're never really fully in belief what can happen until you see it happen. Try to tell someone buying Bitcoin that Bitcoin could plunge and you will not recoup your money for 15 years. And they're going to laugh at you. They're going to come up with some story about how that's not true. And you're not really going to see that, I don't believe, in silver. And I know some people out there are going to say, well, technically, you can see it right here. If you bought in 1979, you will never, you'll never recoup that. You'll never get that money back. It's gone forever. And yeah, that's true. But hopefully you were smart enough to buy as the price went lower, as I was. I mean, I kept buying. The lower it goes, the more I'll back up the truck. And if I see something absurd where the prices come back down to these levels, $10, $20, I would have no problem drawing a line at this $20 mark and saying, you know what, if I see it dip under that, I'm buying. And I mean, if I got to take a loan out against my property, I will. And I know some people will say you shouldn't buy on credit, and to a certain point, that's true. You don't want to overdo it on credit. However, when I look at the prices and I look at the amount of money that's out there in the world today, I think that silver has huge potential to go up. And the only reason we're not seeing it go up is because there's a lot of people that are hiding data from us. They're hiding a lot of the information. I mean, take a look at this chart right here. Look at all these gray lines that you see coming down, like here, here. These are recessions. These are depressions. These are when the markets were bad. Think about that for a minute. All of a sudden, honesty went out the window somewhere in 2008. We haven't had a recession or a depression since 2008. If that is accurate, hypothetically, then we are more than due for one. But yet, they're not going to tell you that. And they're not going to tell you that, oh, we already had it. Because they want to lie to you. They want you to think everything is rainbows and fairy tales, fairy dust, whatever. Rainbows and sunshine, that's the word. It's like, what is the word again they use? So once you realize what's really going on, you start to realize that silver and gold has huge potential. And it does, and it will. We need it more and more for energy. We need it more and more for a lot of the properties that it has, a lot of the economic properties that it has. And nothing's going to change that. A lot of people want to tell me, oh, you should be buying copper. You know what? To put any sizable amount of money away in copper, you would need a lot of space. Oh, you should be buying platinum. Okay. To buy platinum, think about what platinum is used mostly for. The number one thing platinum is used is a catalytic converter. I mean, why wouldn't they try to make it out of other things? I think as time goes on, we're going to use silver more and more. I think there's a lot of patents out there that they're not telling us yet that are going to come out that involve silver. Kind of like batteries. Maybe batteries will all of a sudden start using a silver core. And if every car needs a silver core battery, you can expect silver will go up. Solar panels. They start putting solar panels everywhere. Boom. Think of the amount of money that silver that will go up. The amount of silver it's going to take. A lot of this stuff is all pointing. And when people realize that, they realize that that's it. I want to be a part of the winning side. I want to be a part of the side that wins. But here's what they're going to do. They're going to keep manipulating it down, the price of silver, as low as they can to a point, and we're going to continue to see the COMEX continue to get drained with a deficit year over year over year. And then at a certain point, when it's too much of a deficit, too much to hide, we've already given away the silver, all of a sudden, silver price is going to spike. People are going to want to start claiming their silver. And then they're going to realize, what? The paper to silver ratio is 380 to 1? then what? That's going to push silver prices even higher. Who's going to have their silver? Are you going to have your silver when that happens? I can tell you I want to have mine when that day comes, and that's why I keep stacking now. Nothing will ever change that. I will either pass away with the bulk of my stack, or I may sell some of my stack to get key items that I want, such as a nice piece of land, a nice property. Maybe I'll sell a little bit and get a car down the road. Who knows? But overall, I am always going to stack precious metals. I'm always going to speak highly of it. I can't picture anything happening, because even if it does come down, I'm going to flood in even more, and I'm going to buy even more. And when I talk to people online, a lot of them tell me, if it goes lower, I'll just buy more. I can't get around how many people have that as an answer. Are you worried about the price going down? No, I'll just buy more. But here's the thing. I think if the price does come down, a lot of people aren't going to sell it, and it's probably going to happen at a time that we are in a full-blown, horrible recession or depression. And when I say that, I don't mean what we're experiencing right now. I mean something a lot worse. And people aren't going to have extra money, because they're still going to be on the hook for their car payments, their house payments, their credit card payments, their toys. And they're not really going to want to give up anything. And they're definitely not going to let stuff default and lose their house so they can stack a little silver away. And therefore, little by little, as the price goes up a little bit each day, it's not big enough to make waves, but before you know it, it's too high for people to buy in. You know, silver is the poor man's gold. Gold is going to be gone. That's it. But silver, on the other hand, you know, some people will be able to afford it, even at $100, $150. Some people will still break down and buy it. At a certain point, I'm just going to, you know, stop buying and hold. And then I'm going to start taking my fiat dollars and I'm going to just enjoy them. Enjoy the heck out of it. And maybe that's in the Philippines. Maybe that's in Mexico. Maybe that's right here in the United States when stuff's collapsing. I'm going to be buying up stuff. And people are going to be like, dude, you were so tight with your money and now you're just wasting it. Because I understand where it's going. Ultimately, all fiat currencies collapse. And when that day comes, a lot of people are going to be left holding them. Now, do I think that maybe Trump could pull a wild card and slow that process down? It's a possibility, but at what cost? I did a video on that a couple nights ago, a couple days ago. Maybe if all of a sudden we got a ton of oil, we got a ton of money coming in, and, you're talking Panama Canal, you're talking Canada, Gulf of America, Gulf of Mexico, whatever you want to call it, Greenland, there's a lot of oil in all those places, or huge shipping routes. And I don't think they're going to allow China to use. They don't want China. If China's going to try to take over everything, they're certainly not going to allow them to have the Panama Canal. And that's why I think, at first I thought it was nonsense, but now I can kind of see what his reasoning is behind it. Now the question is, though, can he really do it? Can he get away with some of that stuff? What will happen if he does get away with it? Well, then that could prolong and kick the can down the road a little bit more, strengthen the dollar. Personally, I don't think he can get away with that without having major events throughout the world and people just absolutely disliking us. But that's all for other videos, so you can check out that other video where I talked about that. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I thank you all for watching. I will see you guys again on T-Square Talk, and keep stacking, my friends. It's going to pay off big time down the road, and I think a lot of you guys are just going to realize that the naysayers are just going to learn the hard way. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys again on T-Square Talk. If you made it this far, hit that thumbs up button, and leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And if you'd like to become a member, it's only $1.99 to become a member, and a lot of cool perks. Your comments go right to my phone. Plus, you're entered into every special event every month that we do. And any event really that we do, you are automatically entered. Even if you don't see the event happening, you're still entered. So thank you for becoming a member, and thank you for subscribing and watching. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.